Hello and welcome to this India Today special, where we are joined today by a very special guest, someone who has been a Grand Slam champion and is unarguably one of the finest women athletes this country has produced, a real star who's broken barriers on the court and off it too. Sania Mirza, in a week where you've retired from the sport, welcome and congratulations on a remarkable career over the years.
Thank you very much.
And I have to start by asking you something I asked you a few years ago that got me into trouble, went viral, when I asked you, Sania, have you settled down? Now that you finally retired from the sport, can I say that Sania Mirza has settled down?
I'm going to answer this question the same way I was settled many years ago. I was already settled. I am just settling in a new way now. I'm just kind of altering how I'm going to live my life, but still going to be ambitious in different things.
I'm going to come to some of those things that you're going to do now that you've finally retired from the sport, but let's look back on that career. Is the glass half full, more than half full, or is it a little empty because you would have liked to do more, especially in singles?
I think that as athletes we are always greedy, and that's the reason that we keep playing and year after achieving things that we do. And I think that no matter what, I'll be very proud of everything that I'll be able to achieve, because 30 years ago, if somebody would have told that 6-year-old that I'm going to become #1 in the world at what I do, I would have taken it with both my hands. But the fact is that, I've been able to achieve and live a lot of my dreams. Probably the only dream that I think that, would have been made everything complete would have been an Olympic medal, which we came very close to in 2016 in Rio. But besides that, no, I'm very, very grateful.
When you started off, as you said, as a 6-year-old, you broke a lot of barriers over the years, on court and off court. On court, we hadn't really produced a world-class tennis player in women's tennis, and you achieved that. So, in a way, was that the first goal, just achieving what you did on the court? We'll come to off court in a moment.
No, I think that for me, there was no real person where I was like, I want to do things like this person, right? I just kind of had to make my own way and find my own goals and find my own path. And honestly, I just feel that, every step that we took, every achievement that we had, whether it was a state tournament, whether it was under 12 tournament, whether it was nationals, whether it was Wimbledon, we took so much pride in everything that we were able to do, not just me, but us as a family. So yeah, I think that, our goals, my goals especially, kept changing, right? As I kept achieving things, I was like, okay, now I want to do this, now I want to, win a Grand Slam. After I won a Grand Slam, I want to win this, and I want to get to, a certain ranking in singles. I want to, did I want to get to top 10 in singles? 100%. But you can't always have everything. But achieving of those goals kind of kept changing with the things that I was, the goals that were changing every year as I was achieving them.
Because you grew up in a generation where, as I said, there weren't too many role models within India for you to look up to. So, becoming a tennis player perhaps wasn't so easy, a women's tennis player of substance and class in that period. The family presumably was, as you said, a big support system. But do you feel that it was a time when you had to do it virtually all on your own in a very individualistic sport?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, 30 years ago when we said that we actually wanted to play Wimbledon one day, forget winning. We just said the dream was to play Wimbledon one day. People thought it was a joke, right? And you can't really blame them. They were like, what makes you think you'll be the first person who's going to do that when nobody else has been able to make a mark on the world stage of such a global sport? But the fact is that, without my family, I wouldn't have been anywhere. I still won't be anywhere because they backed me. They backed me no matter what I did. What I chose, and to be very honest, I mean, I think I was very fortunate and lucky to have parents who were really ahead of their times in the way of thinking, in the way of empowering girls, and in the way of like letting girls really try and achieve whatever they want and go after whatever they want.
The reason I'm asking this is, Sania Mirza, Indian Muslim girl from Hyderabad, at a time when you know, there were those who thought there was stereotyping of women. It still is there. Even when you were, you know, wearing your tennis shorts or skirts the first time, there were those who were raising questions. How much of that did affect you at all? Did it at all affect you at any stage, the fact that you were breaking a lot of glass ceilings, a lot of stereotypes?
Honestly, I think I was just living, you know, I was trying to be as authentic as possible, and you know, that doesn't always go down well with everybody, right? But the fact of the matter is that I was different, you know. I was asked a question a few days ago by a journalist, and they said, when did you realize that you were different? I was always different. I had a different life, I had different schooling, I had my scheduling was different, everything was different about me. What I ate was different to the other kids. So the thing is that it was always very different. So for me, I wasn't like going on to and stepping on the court and thinking, okay, I'm breaking this glass thing. I was just being myself, and I was being authentic, and I was like, this is what I think, and this is what I think is right, and this is what I think is not right. And I would say it out loud. And I think that it took time for people to get used to that a little bit as well, to have that young girl you know, say and speak her heart, or be opinionated, or whatever it may have been.
You know, because we had these religious clerics, for example, who were saying, you know, we are going to issue fatwas against Sania Mirza for the clothes she wears on the court. You know, she shouldn't be playing tennis. You know, all of that, was that just background noise for you?
Actually, you know, I don't think you read my book, but if you read my book, you'll know that a lot of that was actually media noise. That wasn't even true in most cases. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that go behind and just come out in the media in a certain way, the way they have said or not been said. And I think we know that better than anybody, right? So, the fact is that I have lived my life under the spotlight since I was 16 years old. It's been 20 years of me being a public person, and you know, I grew up in front of the media. So I mean, it was difficult at times. I will not say that it wasn't hard. I mean, you don't even know the person you are when you're 16, 17, 18, you know, and you're trying to discover yourself when you have so many opinions about you and headlines about you, of the way that you walk, eat, sleep, play, look, you know, so many things. So it did affect me at times. It didn't affect me as much as maybe it would have, because I think I had a very solid backing with my family around me, my friends. I had a very close-knit group and a support system around me. But there were times when I would be very angry. I can think of a couple of times, obviously, and there were times when I thought it was not fair as to why I was being put through that kind of media trial. So.
What was the turning point for you? You know, as you look back on your career, what was the point where you said, you know, I think I've arrived. I think now I am ready to sort of take the global stage. Was it being at Wimbledon the first time? What was it? When was that turning point that came for you as an athlete, as a sportswoman?
I think it was winning Junior Wimbledon, to be very honest. I think that was the moment when I really thought that, you know, I can actually make a career out of this. When I got to Junior Wimbledon and when we won it, I was like, wow, I mean, this is where the future stars come out from winning these junior Grand Slams. And I think truly that was the time when I was about 15, is when I truly thought that, okay, you have a real shot at this.
And then, you know, you enter the seniors, you play the likes of Serena. You know, you grew up in the age of the one and only Serena Williams, and I think there was a match that you played with her early on in your career, and you actually were giving it as good as you were getting. She was hitting hard, and so were you. You know, you seem to be sort of, you know, be able to compete with the best.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I was one of the best tennis players of the world, and I believe that I deserve to be there. And I think that's a belief system that we need to instill in all our kids, you know, that you deserve to be with the best, and you are one of the best. And, you know, I was 18 years old, my first Grand Slam. I had to play Serena Williams in the third round. It's been scarily 18 years since that match, and people still talk about it like you have, you know, because people remember that. So it was a monumental match for me in so many ways, you know, being my first Grand Slam, playing against the greatest player of all time, you know, and competing against her well. So that also made me believe so much. I mean, that was my breakthrough year. It was in 05 when that happened. It was my breakthrough year when I went from 150 to 30, 31 in the world at the end of the year. So it was a huge jump in terms of my career, and that was the year that I really felt that I had, you know, I had arrived.
And then you, of course, go on to win doubles, 6 Grand Slam doubles, including some with Martina Hingis. It all must have been a bit of a dream at times. Have you ever pinched yourself occasionally, wow, when you see those Grand Slam trophies in your house, that I am a 6-time Grand Slam winner?
No, I mean, I don't know about a dream, but I think that's something that we work for all our lives. You know, we wanted to be in that position to be winning Grand Slams, and I was very fortunate enough to be able to have done that, and to be number one in the world for almost 2 years was something that I could only dream of, because it was like being number one undisputedly, you know, to be number for as long as I was. And it was, I feel, like I said, I mean, right at the beginning, I feel really grateful for the career I've had. And you know, sometimes I just watch matches from before, and you know, really try, and I still feel goosebumps from some of the finals that we played.
You know, from the outside, the world of tennis appears extremely glamorous. I'm sure it's much tougher traveling across the world from one tournament to the other. What's been the best thing of this journey, and what's been the most difficult thing for you to deal in this long journey of yours?
I mean, the best thing is that you get to, you know, have all these experiences. You make some great, you meet some great people, you make some great friends, but also, you know, you get to do what you love, what you work for, and hey, you get paid for it. You know, it's you get paid for doing what you really, really love and what you're passionate about. The worst thing about it is probably, for me, it was probably staying away from family, you know, still living out of a suitcase. I think for me, because we're such a close-knit family, it was very difficult because we were always split into two halves. And I think that was probably, that does take a toll because tennis is a very lonely sport.
Yeah, go ahead. You know, because I'm trying to understand, for young women who look up to you today, who would want to be the next Sania Mirza, and we haven't produced, unfortunately, in tennis, both men and women in recent times, really someone who's even top 50. What would be your advice?
I mean, I would like to say that, you know, everything takes time. You know, people nowadays, I think we're in a world of quick results, because we get things very quickly. And 30 years ago, it wasn't like that. You know, there was no internet, there was no so many opportunities. We were very resilient, we were very persistent with the things that we did. You have to commit yourself to doing something, and back yourself. I think that's something that I'd love to tell people, especially young girls, because you know, God knows, more often than not, we're told we can't do something rather than we can. So back yourself, you're your biggest cheerleader. But more than anything, you have to be very, very committed to what you're doing. It takes a lot of sacrifice to maybe be successful at what you love.
But why has it, Sania, have you thought about this? You know, we've had a great badminton revolution in the last few years, both women's and men. But in tennis, we've actually, in a way, gone a step back. We haven't thrown up a great player in the last decade. You've been the last star, in a way, that we've thrown up. So Leander Mahesh on the men's side and you on the women's. But in the last few years, we've struggled a bit.
Yeah, we have, and it's very unfortunate, because I've been trying to answer this question for the last 15 years at least, that who after you. And you know, the honest truth is that I just feel, you know, badminton, it shows you with the system in place what you know, magic it's done, and we really don't have a system in place in tennis, and it's never been there. So any player that comes out you know, and becomes a champion, whether it was a Vijay Amritraj, Ramesh Krishnan, whether Mahesh, Leander, or myself, we don't come because of the system. We come despite the system. And you know, that's why you, if it's just an individual effort that's going to go into it without the backing of an entire system in place, the infrastructure, the kind of coaching, I mean, you're always going to play catch up with the people who are spending, you know, millions and millions on each of their players from the age of 8-9 years old. So, you know, the odds are really not in your favor. So that's why you're going to have a champion every 20-30 years.
So what you're calling for is a system. You think Indian tennis lacks a system at the end of the day, unlike other sports at the moment?
I think unlike badminton, I don't know, I'm sure there are other sports also that lack a system, but I can tell you for a fact that tennis does lack a system. And any person, whether you speak to, whether it's a Mahesh, Leander, Rohan, or myself, or a Somdev Varman even, I mean, we will all tell you the same thing, that we are all here. We are products of our family's work or the sacrifices that we've made on an individual basis. And I think that is a bitter truth. And I think that, you know, we still have a long way to go in terms of coaching. We still have a long way to go in terms of the kind of training. I mean, the kids have started training at the age of 6, 7 years old, and then we start doing the same stuff at 14, 15 because we're just learning along the way because there's nobody to actually tell you what to do, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do my bit by having academies and trying to help kids understand with the experience that I have as to what it really takes. And people, like I said, want quick results. People are ready to give up really fast. They don't want to put that 10, 15 years in. I mean, they think that, you know, I also feel somewhere they're doing it for the wrong reasons. You know, I shouldn't generalize, but a lot of people that I come across, you have to do it because you love the game. You have to put in that work because you love the game. You can't put it in for the money or for the stardom that comes with it. You know, you have to do it because the reason needs to be correct, because your passion needs to be there for you to be able to put in that much work week after week, day after day for years.
You know, I have to ask you this. You broke barriers, as I said, in more ways than one. A woman tennis player shining on the global stage, and then you went and married a Pakistani, Shoaib Malik, and that too has always created a controversy. I remember interviewing the two of you at the time, and you know, there was always this again, you know, Sania Mirza marrying a Pakistani, you know, is that and Shoaib is quite remarkable. I still watch him in T20 games. He still seems to score runs all the time. You know, how do you see that? You know, was that also difficult to deal with, the surround sound?
I mean, yeah, you know, I think, yeah, it is hard to deal with reading bad stuff about you, right? Like if somebody comes and tells you that your coworker said something about you, you'll feel bad about it. Imagine reading about that constantly all your life. So, I mean, yeah, there are moments that it's difficult. I won't say that it kind of, like, media and what's written about me doesn't really shape my day, you know. I mean, it might make me a little grumpy, or I'll sulk for a couple of minutes, but I'll be over it because I know better than that, being in the media for the last 20 years, that nothing lasts, you know, the good or the bad. And it's just, it doesn't really, it doesn't affect me so much, but I mean, yeah, it does affect me here and there, you know, on rare occasions.
But an Indo-Pak relationship has worked rather well, cricket and tennis coming together.
Yeah, it's done well.
You know, as you now look ahead, what do you do? How do you, I just read you're going to be a brand ambassador for one of the women's Premier League teams, so obviously you're going to be a mentor of sorts. What is it that you want to do now that part of life which was your passion forever is coming to an end?
I think that I'd love to be involved with sports. So when this opportunity with RCB came up, I mean, it's actually a mentorship. And my first answer was like, I don't really know anything about cricket, guys. I mean, I've been around cricket, but I don't know anything about cricket.
I thought Shoaib would have told you all that you needed to know about T20 cricket.
I'm an athlete. I know better than that. You can't know things without playing them well. So I don't really know much about cricket. I can watch it. I'm a great spectator. But I think that, you know, the conversation that we had was very interesting. And they said, you know, the girls that we'll be working with are young girls who are, you know, for the first time probably facing this kind of spotlight,
right.
You know, with shoots, with the kind of money riding on them, the kind of pressure, constant media. I mean, a lot of the girls haven't really faced that ever. And I've faced that for the last 20 years of my life, and they were like, we just want you to, you know, help them cope with that. And I think that was such a brilliant sort of idea for me as well, because I'm like, this is my way of giving back to the younger female athletes of our country, in helping them in whatever way possible. You know, so I was really excited about this opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to starting with them actually tomorrow.
But have you thought of what next? I mean, how is life after tennis going to be? Are you going to try and create that system? Are you going to make your kid the next Sania Mirza?
My kid, let me answer with that. I actually don't know. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. You know, he can. I'm very happy for him to, you know, do whatever he wants. Right now, he swims, he plays tennis, he plays badminton, and he plays the guitar. So
wow.
It could be anything. You know, he loves sport. He's got pretty decent genes, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, I want him to be a professional athlete. He can do whatever he wants. I, for one, would, like I said, you know, I'm in constant touch with her. And yeah, so I just feel like I can do stuff like that. And if that means like Indian tennis ever needs me in any kind of way, whether that's in the system or outside the system, I'm ready to help.
You know, I should have asked you this at the very outset, because I was watching your final of the Australian Open and you were in the final of a Grand Slam. Now, how many people choose to retire when people ask why and why not. So I must ask you why, what was that moment that made you decide this is it, I've had enough?
Because I rather have people ask me why rather than when. It's very important for me. But more than that, I like to do things on my own terms, as you've known me for many years, and I have always believed in living life on my own terms. And for me, it's important. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But for me, it was important to leave the game on the top. And I thought that no better way to do it, right, after playing a final of a Grand Slam. But having said that, though, the fact is that, there's a lot of reasons that I don't feel that motivation. I mean, for one, it's been 20 years. For two, I mean, my body is beat, and also emotionally and mentally, I just don't have it in me to push myself to stay at that level. So, for me to play at this level, people see that I'm playing at the level, but for me to get there, it's taking so much out of me that I just don't feel I have that in me anymore.
I have to ask you, what is it that we don't know about Sania Mirza that we should know? What are the things that are, the things that you couldn't do because you were a professional tennis player? You had to be very careful of your exercise, your discipline, your regimen. What is it, the things that you couldn't do all these 20 years that you're now going to do?
The one thing that people don't know about me is that I'm a really lazy person. I come across as this person who does so many things. But my inner soul is the one that wants to sit in pajamas and eat all day and not get fat. Like, I'm that person, right? So I want to wake up without an alarm. I want to sleep and stay in my pajamas for like till 12 in the afternoon. That's the person I truly am on the inside. I don't think many people know that.
Many people don't know it. So is that what you're going to do? Is that now the time to sort of get up late? You don't have to get up at 6 o'clock for practice.
I wish, but no. I won't get up for practice, but I've had like 3 hours of sleep in the last 4 nights because I've just been traveling, because I start with RCB actually tomorrow, like I said, so I've actually not even taken time off. I've just gotten into something new, and I'm really excited for it. But that's my alter person, where I'm like, I want to sleep, but hey, I cannot just sit idle. So I'm stuck in between these two personalities, to be very honest.
And, when you look back on your career, as you said, the one regret you had was not winning an Olympic medal. But your finest moment, what's the moment that you will always treasure, that you'll pass on to your son and say, look, Mama did this?
I think being #1 in the world, the day I became #1 in the world, it was April 12, 2015. And I think that in that moment, it just felt that everything, and I had this flashback in front of my eyes, and just felt all those sacrifices, all that work that we had put in, all those people who didn't believe in us, and we believed in ourselves. I felt like everything was worth it in that moment.
I've been in touch with your dad, Imran Mirza, and I think I know that two of you are very close. You, your mum, he, your sister. It's been the team Mirzas that's really struck out for me. So as we conclude, you have a special word for them, or indeed all your fans. What would you like to tell your fans who followed you through all the ups and downs over the years and will miss you on the court?
Well, I'm going to miss them too, because, for me, competing in front of my fans and you all has been the greatest and truest pleasure to, and such an honor to represent our country at the highest level in sport. Just thank you for being with me. I have so many amazing messages, every day, and I'm not able to reply to so many of them, but I just want to say thank you so much for always having my back, for always believing in me, no matter what I was going through on and off the court, so just thank you. I'm so grateful for all of you.
As I said, Sania, we started off saying that in a way you are a path breaker in more ways than one, actually, and therefore I think congratulations on a fantastic career and for all you've achieved, and I hope that you can do much more and you can sleep the occasional morning in your pajamas without having to worry about a tennis game in the afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks, Rajdeep.
All the very best, Sania. Sania Mirza, as she completes her journey, in a way, as a tennis player. Thanks for joining us, Sania. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.